Hi, I'm Dennis from Accountants Desktop. This video will demonstrate our BAS JobPapers, which are our working paper solution for client activity statement jobs. JobPapers are multi-sheet Excel files, each designed as an all-in-one workpaper solution for a specific job type. For help with using our job papers, click on the green Job Paper Help button at the dashboard. Non-subscribers can access these pages on our website. If you like this video, please give it the thumbs up below and don't miss any of our future videos by clicking on the subscribe button. These are the important features you'll find in our BAS working paper solution. There's just one multi-sheet Excel file which you download from our website and save with other client records in your document management system. Importantly, you can keep all of your BAS reports and working papers for a client for the entire year together in one file, so you can easily find what you need when preparing subsequent activity statements or annual accounts. You can reconcile GST, wages, super, and pay-as-you-go withholding for each period. Our Excel file produces a draft activity statement for each period, with key figures to be shown at the relevant form labels. You'll also see here a summary of the reconciliation balances for those key figures for each form. You can calculate variations to GST, PAYG and FBT instalments. An annual BAS summary is automatically updated as you complete each period, and at the end of the financial year, you can copy that summary to the client's annual accounts working paper file. Data can be loaded into this file using our import Excel routine or manually loaded by copying and pasting. Any other data can be added by pasting screenshots, although Excel is by far the best way to populate your file because you can work with the numbers using standard Excel features. And we only protect our formulas and our text. All other areas of each worksheet are unprotected, giving you maximum flexibility in the way you work. When you first open the file, you'll see the dashboard, which contains a summary of the contents of the entire file. The Job Management and Procedures sections display the total number of items in each sheet, along with the number outstanding where applicable. Under BAS Calculations and Reports, you'll find links to each of the worksheets for those calculations. A green tick alongside any item shows which sheets are in use. Below that, there are a few Accountants Desktop templates for various calculations, and to the far right, there are 40 blank sheets for DIY use. When you use these sheets, make sure you add a description at the dashboard so that you know which sheets are being used. By far, the best way to navigate around this file is by using the customised Accountants menu, which you can see at the top of the screen, and which will be visible when you first open the file. The file contains several job management sheets to keep track of your work. They include a customisable procedures checklist, a to-do list, a queries sheet, a communications sheet for things like emails and telephone conversations, a file notes sheet, and a records sheet where you can import or paste any supporting records used to complete the work. There are specific sheets for GST, Payroll, PAYG Instalments, and FBT. The Activity Statements sheet displays a draft copy of each form with form labels and reconciliation balances. And the Integrated Client Accounts sheet is where you import ATO portal reports for each period. And finally, there are 40 unprotected DIY sheets available for use for any purpose. Going back to the GST worksheet, in our sample, I've imported a GST report in Excel format from the client's accounting system for the September quarter. I've recorded the amounts of GST collected and paid at the summary table, and then I've reconciled amounts in the GST report with the profit and loss statement by clicking on the link in the amount column for that period. At this screen, I've imported a profit and loss statement for the September quarter. I've completed the reconciliation table at the top of the page, and below that I've shown amounts that do not include GST. When finished, I check any differences in the summary to assure that the figures reconcile within my tolerance level. Figures in the GST summary table will be transferred to the BAS summary. To reconcile GST owing in the balance sheet, I've clicked on the link in that column in the summary table to the left and imported a balance sheet at period end to this part of the sheet and completed the reconciliation. There may be times when a client is paying GST based on an ATO instalment and you need to vary that amount. In that scenario, you enter the ATO instalment amount at the summary towards the bottom of the screen and click on the adjacent link called GST Instalment Variation Calculations, where you can enter projected sales and purchases with GST to quickly calculate the expected annual GST liability and the amount payable for the current quarter. I've then entered the varied amount calculated, or I could choose an amount based on that varied amount at the summary. The payroll sheet will allow you to keep a summary of payroll reports for the client for any relevant period to support figures shown on each BAS. Once again, I've imported a payroll report from the client's accounting system into the September quarter area of this sheet and entered totals to the summary table on the far left-hand side of the sheet. Clicking on the profit and loss and balance sheet reconciliation links in that summary will take you to the reconciliation area of that sheet to compare the figures with your general ledger balances. This is the profit and loss reconciliation screen, and this is the balance sheet reconciliation screen. Let's now look at the PAYG instalment sheet. In our example, the client is paying a PAYG instalment based on option 2, the rate method. So I've pasted a profit and loss statement for the period to show the instalment income that must be shown on the BAS. I've then entered the ATO instalment rate at the summary table, and the worksheet will calculate the amount payable and transfer it to the BAS summary. However, I've decided to vary the PAYG instalment rate, so I've clicked on the variation link and entered estimates of annual income and expenses to calculate taxable income and tax payable, and to work out the relevant rate on the client's instalment income, or alternatively calculate the instalment amount for that period. It's important to make sure that all of the information needed for the variation, such as the PAYG cycle, company type, instalment method, and the quarterly situation if applicable, have been appropriately selected at the top of the sheet. It's also important to show details of prior activity statements so that should there be a credit available, it can be correctly calculated. And this is our FBT sheet, which you can use to enter FBT instalment amounts and to calculate any variation. In our example, I've decided to vary the instalment amount, so I've entered details of projected fringe benefits at this table to estimate the annual liability and to calculate the amount owing for the quarter. And finally, the BAS summary is automatically updated as you enter information to the other sheets. At the end of the financial year, you can copy and paste the summary to the client's annual accounts job paper file. Thank you for watching this video on our BAS working papers. If you liked the video, please give it the thumbs up below, and don't miss any of our future videos by clicking on the subscribe button. My details are shown on the screen, so please feel free to contact me for any further information.